Hi everyone, welcome to our Saturday call. This is where we like to add more years to your life and more healthy life to your years. So this week's subject is going to be about resveratrol. I'd like to introduce a couple of really good friends of mine to this call. Dr. Kurt Visnick. Kurt is a wellness consultant. He was a chiropractor of over 30 years. He's really passionate about age reversal and is really an expert on the subject. So welcome, Kurt.
Thanks for having me.
And I'd also like to welcome Katie Larkin. She's a really close friend of mine. She also has a common interest in age reversal and nutrition, optimal health. She has a Bachelor in Science degree in health, and she also likes or was involved in natural bodybuilding. Her looks defy her age, and she loves animals. So welcome, Katie.
Thanks.
We've got a short video to show initially, so I'll let you take over from here, Katie, and get this little video clip going.
Well, what we have discovered is that resveratrol works on a gene which is called SIRT1, and this is a gene that controls the aging process. Resveratrol seeks out that gene and switches it on.
Resveratrol
has the chance to change healthcare.
I think that within the next few decades we have a pretty good chance of effectively defeating aging as a cause of death.
Way beyond nips and tucks and diet and exercise to the cutting edge of the search for a longer, healthier life. What you will see would not have been possible just a few years ago. So whether you are 20 or 40 or 60 years old, living well past 100 could happen to you.
So that was a pretty cool clip there, Katie.
Yeah.
Kurt, yeah, you know a lot about resveratrol, Kurt. It's been around for a little while now. What can you tell us about resveratrol?
Boy, I tell you what, the research on resveratrol is so amazing. Like Baba Wawa was just saying, it switches on the SIRT1 gene, and the SIRT1 gene, the SIRT2 gene. What they are is they're genes that like they said, it helps with aging. But the SIRT1 gene specifically, what that one does is it repairs damaged DNA. Damaged DNA. And people say, well, you know, what if I don't have any damaged DNA? You do. Just trust me, you do. Everybody's got damaged DNA. Every day, your DNA is bombarded with radiation. It's bombarded with toxins, stress, even stress from your own body, created within your own body, damages your DNA. And so if you're taking a dose of resveratrol, you'll fix that DNA.
Hey, sorry, Trev, just
Awesome.
can you turn, if you've got it on any other device, can you turn it off? No feedback? No. Okay, that's all right. That's just running on feedback.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong here, Kurt, but the SIRT genes or SIRT1 gene, that switches off at the age of 25, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it switches off or it starts slowing down. I mean, just like anything, you know, we start getting ready for the dying process, right? In the beginning of our life, the first 25 or 30 years, we're going through the process of growing and becoming us. And then after that, it's that slow, gradual decline. And so, you know, I wouldn't say exactly at 25, but somewhere around there, yeah.
Okay. There's been a lot of research done on resveratrol. I believe around about 15,000 different medical kinds of research on the compound. Is there anything that stands out for you?
Well, I mean, I think the probably the research that stands out for me the most is what we were just talking about, switching on those SIRT2 genes, because if you're repairing your DNA, it's going to change your entire life. It's going to change the outcome of everything.
Okay. So I believe it's got the ability to lengthen lifespan. And they've done lots of scientific studies with animals and mice and things. Can you expand on that?
You bet. You bet. Well, you know, I mean, we're all familiar with stem cells. Stem cells have really kind of gotten to be the talk of the town. You know, when when you go to anti-aging seminars, symposiums, they're talking about stem cells. They're talking about what can we do to increase the stem cells. And, you know, stem cells, like I was saying on a call earlier, it's like the appliance repairman in your body. And what happens is that as you age, you go from 1 in 10,000 stem cells ratio to regular cells. To middle age, it's 1.5 million, and when you get to be old age, it's like 1 in every 2 million. And so when we're looking at that, I mean, the same sort of thing happens with the DNA as it gets damaged. It just can't repair itself as much, and that's where the sirtuin genes step in and make a difference.
Okay, so in you saying that, you know, since I've been on those, you know, nutritionals to help with, you know, resveratrol and age reversal kind of components, my nails are growing really quick and my hair's growing faster, and you know, I still got good colour in my hair, and you know, would that be due to what you're talking about, the stem cells getting around the body and aiding the body in you know, in that form of nail growth and things?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that you know, it just helps out with all that repair. I've got a gal that I work with. If she's not 80, she's pretty close to it right now. And she had rheumatoid arthritis, and we can't make any medical claims, but without taking any other product, she started taking the resveratrol, and within a 90-day period of time, taking 300 milligrams of resveratrol a day, she got rid of all of her rheumatoid arthritis. It was gone.
Wow.
Wow.
Incredible. Kurt, can I just jump in with a question? So I was going to ask, with resveratrol, how does that affect, and we can't make any claims, but in regards to any products, but in regards to the ingredient resveratrol, how does that impact cancer cells?
Well, resveratrol has one property. It's called anti-angiogenesis. And what that basically means, when you see the word anti, it means stop. When you see angio, that means, you know, heart or cardiovascular. And when you see genesis, it means new. So anti-angiogenesis. So when it comes to cancer, what it's actually doing is the resveratrol is cutting off the blood supply to the blood supply. If the blood supply is cut off, if the tumor doesn't have that blood supply, it's limited on its growth. The body has built in a system to limit the blood supply, to limit the growth of the tumor, and therefore it's going to make the tumor so it's going to start to shrink. So and it'll actually go through apoptosis, and so that's the studies on resveratrol as far as tumors.
Okay.
So we're not making any medical claims. We're just repeating what the research shows us.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Well, that's pretty fascinating, Kurt. You know, the active properties of resveratrol. There is so many studies involved with resveratrol. I believe it protects the brain. You know, it's great for insulin activity. It increases that. It's great for joint pain. We just spoke about cancer. We spoke about positive effects of, well, we can speak about the effects of blood fats, but I believe it's very good for the heart. Can you expand on why?
Right. Well, I mean, it helps with the oxygenation of the cells, but the other thing is it helps with the lining, the inside the blood vessels. There's a lining, and resveratrol helps to rebuild that.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, so how much resveratrol? I know I've got a bowl of red wine here, you know, and I took a swig of that, but is that really enough for me to, consume?
Actually the answer to that is no, right? When Dr. Sinclair did all of his studies on resveratrol, and he said, wow, this is great. It's in red wine. And so I remember, was it Newsweek or Time magazine? They had a picture of a bottle of red wine on the cover, and the cost of red wine just skyrocketed because they expected everybody to go out and buy it, right? Well, in order to get enough red wine to actually make a difference, you'd have to drink 300 glasses.
Whoa, and you'd be dead.
So cherry juice just doesn't do it for you either?
No, you'd have to 300 glass of that. You'd have to drink it, man. And so in a month, that's like drinking 1,000 bottles.
Right.
Right. So I believe, you can buy resveratrol as a supplement and you can get it in capsule form. And there's also a liquid surgical, which is, I believe, is a really good form. Why is that? Like, if we need to have 1,000 bottles of red wine, where can we consume enough of that? It's pretty hard.
Well, that's a good question too. And let's go back to Dr. David Sinclair's work. Dr. David Sinclair, he said this is the most amazing discovery, and so other scientists went to reproduce his finding, and they came back and they said, well, it didn't work. And I remember listening to Dr. David Sinclair saying, well, it had to work. It worked for me. And so he was like, well, did I make a mistake? And really what they found out was that the resveratrol that the later scientists were using, it was already oxidized. They were using a form of resveratrol that had already been damaged. And so that's why you couldn't compare one study to the other. I mean, if you compare apples to oranges, they're different, right? And that's what they were finding. And so what other scientists have done is they've figured out how to take the resveratrol and they figured out how to encapsulate it in a liposome. And when you encapsulate it in a liposome, it's like putting a grape skin around the resveratrol, and it protects it from the oxidation. And then if you can take and you can bottle that before it ever gets exposed to oxygen, now you're going to have the most effective product. Well, think about most products on the market. They don't go through that. What they do is they take the resveratrol, they put it into a powder form, they put it into a capsule, they throw it in a bottle, they put it in the store, you go to buy it, you're getting, it's already lost 90% of its effectiveness by the time you take it.
And this is really interesting point, Kurt. It's why people say, oh, supplements don't work, because of exactly stuff like that happens. Unless it's processed and handled in the correct way to maintain, all of its potency and, therapeutic benefits, it's worthless.
It's worthless. That's exactly it. And that's, I mean, I remember when I first got into nutrition, when I first started working with nutrition, vitamin E, we were talking about vitamin E at the time. And I know I'm getting off subject a little bit here, but vitamin E, everybody was saying at the time, vitamin E is so great, it helps prevent heart disease. And then all of a sudden, here comes another study. And it says vitamin E doesn't work. It doesn't prevent heart disease. In fact, it causes heart disease. And I thought, well, how can we have one study that shows it's good and another study that shows it's bad? So I started looking into it. And what we actually found is that the studies that were showing that vitamin E prevented heart disease, well, that was the natural vitamin E. The studies that showed that vitamin E caused heart disease, they used synthetic. And so then you ask yourself, well, why would a vitamin company use a synthetic form of vitamin E? And the answer is because they can save pennies. They can save pennies, profit, more money.
And so then people just think or hope that it's doing something, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not working. It can't work. Synthetic vitamin E doesn't work.
And, you were talking about, sorry, Drew.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, GlaxoSmithKline, the big pharmaceutical company, bought all of Professor David Sinclair's work and research on resveratrol, and they paid almost $750 million for it. That says a lot for resveratrol, but it seems as though they haven't brought it forward, and possibly that's a reason why they can't turn it into a synthetic form, which can then work. It's only best in its natural form, and we know that big pharmaceutical can't patent something that's a natural.
Yeah, not only do they want to come up with a synthetic form, they want to come out with a drug. They want to come out with a pharmaceutical. And from what I've heard, they're in later stages of testing with a pharmaceutical that will work like resveratrol.
With side effects.
All drugs have side effects.
Yeah, but you don't buy, your supplement, it doesn't say side effects. Obviously, you can take too much of anything, but the thing is, there's not big warnings on the bottle, not the same as a pharmaceutical.
Oh yeah, even aspirin. I was just reading today that, you know, I mean, everybody's being told by their doctor, take an aspirin a day, take a baby aspirin, right? It's going to help prevent heart disease. You know, they did a study that was combined both the United States and Australia, and they did a study, I forget how many thousands of people that they studied, and they found that actually the people that took the aspirin had a higher chance of dying.
Yeah, and it also can increase the chances of having a bleed in the stomach lining.
And a bleed in the brain, hemorrhaging in the brain.
Crazy.
Yeah, so basically the natural form's always the best form, you know, and until it's played with. So resveratrol is available in a natural form. It's just that Big Pharma won't do that, I guess. So, righty, so anything you'd like to add about the benefits of resveratrol, Kurt and Katie?
What about resveratrol for pets, Kurt?
Resveratrol for pet. My dog gets it every single day. I mean, it's going to do the same thing for us as it's going to do, you know, for the animals.
Yeah.
You bet. You bet.
Awesome.
Alrighty, so
I've got another testimonial if you want to hear a great testimonial.
Oh.
yeah, sure.
Right. We were talking earlier about how resveratrol is anti-angiogenic. So a friend of mine out in California, young gal, I think she just turned 35 or 38 now. But 5 or 6 years ago, she was diagnosed with early stages of breast cancer. And so she started taking a good high potency resveratrol product, and in 30 days, the tumors were gone. Right? And we can't say cure, we can't say treat. Gone.
Incredible.
In remission, I guess, right?
Well, it really opens people's minds to thinking what's possible.
It does.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just to finish up, I guess, you know, the formulation which I take, the resveratrol product that I actually take, it's nano-sized, so it's it goes, you know, I just hold it in the mouth and it goes in sublingually through underneath the tongue and into the bloodstream, into the lymphatic system. So I'm pretty sure that's the same formulation that you're talking about there, Kurt, for your friend.
Definitely.
Yeah, I must say I feel great when I take this particular form of resveratrol. I get energised with it and feel really good with it. So I reckon it's a really positive nutritional to have. It's pretty advanced science, so not many people are really taking resveratrol out there. So yeah, I feel quite happy that I've come across this kind of research and the stuff that you share. So thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kurt. Thanks.
Yeah, and thank you, Katie, for coming on today. I know we've had a couple of little bit of a muck around with the Facebook Live today, but if anyone's watching this replay, look, feel free to you know, just send through a replay comment or just a wow or whatever if you've enjoyed the content of what we're talking about here. You know, we're just trying to add value to people's lives. We've been involved in this for quite a while now. You know, Kurt for a long time, myself as well, and it's just great to share this kind of information and get it out there. So thanks, guys, and thanks for everyone for getting involved.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Kurt.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Bye, mate. Bye.